So let's see if this actually works. What the hell? So let me just check if everything works as I hope. Yeah, looks like it. Okay then. In that case, I'll just start and talk and hope that everything works out as it should. Maybe turn the audio down a little bit. You know what, should still work anyway. So, as you can see, I am not completely new to this game. I have actually had a prior... I've actually have it on Xbox as well, and some other versions of it. I really like this game. I played it with my wife quite a bit. The main thing about this game is that killing stuff is really fun, which basically means that I'm playing it a little bit. Not the only game I play. I'm also into RPGs and many other things. But this is one of my favorites, and I think it is my favorite ARPG. And the main reason I didn't, you know, play it all the time is because you get bored after a while. So at some point you have accomplished everything that there is to accomplish, basically. And then the seasons change and things get a little bit worse and a bit more stupid, so yeah. That said, I really do like the seasons, and some of them are better than others, and now the reason that I'm playing is that I just found out on my birthday that this season is actually my favorite season of all of them, which allows you to have 4 enchantments in the cube. And the cube, if you don't know, gives you extra bonuses from equipment, and you can have in addition to the equipment that you're wearing. And this is the one season that allows for huge build variety, because many builds just don't work if you have only 3 additional slots available, because for some you need 2 or 3 upgrades per skill, and the only way to get that is with a 4th slot in the cube. So with that said, I think we will get into the entire story hour that I wanted to do. Because I also intend to do this on YouTube. It's my first stream, and I will download this as a video, and hopefully everything will work out as intended, so I can stream it to YouTube as well without having any problems or regrets. Now, since it is my 40th birthday today, I also intended to have a little talk about life and the entire how life evolves kind of thing. It's not a midlife crisis, it's just that I intended to do a lot of different things on my 40th birthday, and this is just one of them. Now, with that said, where do I start? I guess this is supposed to be an intro video about who I am and who this guy behind the camera is that's talking a lot about Star Wars and giving life advice and all of that. So I think I'll just start with, well, if I start with my occupations, I've done so much, but let's do that. I think my very first job was working with with people with disabilities for a honorary helping organization, where I spent my vacations, my summer and stuff like that, helping people with disabilities getting through their life, which was mostly mental disabilities, like Down syndrome and stuff like that. I became a nurse later on. I guess this was inspired by that, and as a nurse I worked with first in the psychiatry, so psychiatric ward, with people with dementia, with all kinds of all kinds of weird disabilities, with all all kinds of depression, suicidal thoughts, people who have had all kinds of what's the name? I didn't want to click on that. That had all kinds of forms of retardation and basically bipolar disorder, all kinds of other things. I have worked in the criminal world as well, where people have like actual sociopaths and psychopaths and stuff like that. So there is really a lot that went on in that regard. Now, as for the life advice, I also worked as a life coach. I gave a lot of speeches in terms of mental disabilities. I have had professional consulting that I did for people. I worked about 60 different occupations, most of them rather short, like helping with an electrician and stuff like that. I worked in a hotel, in the wellness area. I did massages. Jesus, it's hard to really just remember it all. I worked at McDonald's. I worked as a waiter in a 5-star restaurant. I worked in the kitchen. I worked as a damn it, now I blank on the English words. Jesus, it also has been so many different things. I did work as a nurse in a home for the elderly, so I do know how to guide people through the end of their lives, basically, and people through the time. I have worked in teaching. I actually taught a little while at a local school. I have obviously been to university and stuff like that. I don't have any academic degree, however. That is NATO. I do have licenses and stuff like that. I currently work as a fitness trainer with the Trainer A license, which is basically medical stuff, specializations and professional sports. I do have regular contact with people that want to improve themselves, their mental health, their physical health, their what they can do in their given sport, or just want to have a little bit more comfort in the body. I'm a weight loss coach as well. I'm trained as a fitness business kind of guy. I really blank on the name. In German it's called Fitnesskaufmann. I'm not sure how that translates. Like it's a trade, basically. A trade, business school, yeah, something like that. Anyway, I have a long history, which with all kinds of issues and things and changes. And the thing that I wanna get into with introducing myself on this 40th birthday of mine is really that over the course of your life you change. I have had many phases in my life, and some of them, the younger you are, the quicker things change. At a certain age you kind of settle in, and there's not that much changing in your life or yourself about your personality anymore, because you at a certain point know who you are, know what you can do, what you can't do, know what you want to do with your life, and you're kind of settled in. And that's the reason that I did my big change to Darth Coldis recently today actually, because I think it's time to get to a new phase in my life. Will it be the last? I don't know. Track record says no, but then again, I do know a lot of people. I do know people throughout their life. I do know the elderly, and as I said, at a certain point you're just kind of settled in. I have a wife and 3 children, all of which are now adults themselves. I have a job that I'm settled in. I have a house that I live in for I think almost 20 years now. So yeah, I'm in the community. I have found my gamer tags and my community is there. So I think I'm settled in, and I thought the change was kinda in place. You see, when I was very young as a child, I was just called David. That's just my given name, and I was a horrible child, like really horrible child. I was, how do I say that properly without getting the algorithm going? I used to be a very violent child, very emotionally unstable, anger issues, throwing tantrums, punching people. I was, it didn't come out of nowhere though. I used to be bullied a lot because of my teeth, because of my weird language, because the town that I existed first, my first 3 years of life, was in a completely different area than the one that my parents moved to, and there was even a language barrier. I was bullied because I was fat. I was bullied because I was super pale. I was bullied a lot, and that bred a lot of resentment and anger, and as a result of that I lashed out at every opportunity. I did a lot of things that I regret back then. I was rather cruel and I lied a lot. I was basically just a horrible person in pretty much every way you can imagine. Now my excuse is that I was a child and I was autistic. I still am autistic. But the thing is that I didn't know that. I didn't get my autism diagnosis until I was 30 years old, and like when I worked in psychiatry, I had contact with autistic patients. I learned about the whole psychology stuff, and I realized that hey, maybe I am autistic myself. Was quite a chore to get the diagnosis and find someone who can actually do it if you're an adult, but that worked out, and then I was diagnosed around 30 years old. With that said, as a child I had a really easy time at school. I was very good at it, only straight A's throughout the entire career. No real struggles in school. I didn't even learn at home. I mostly didn't do the homework, which is why I sometimes got a B or a C at school like in German and math, where you have to do your homework, and I just didn't. I was really, how do I say it, I was a horrible child, horrible person to be around. I did have a few friends, though not all that many. The main reason that I want to talk about this is that I basically grew out of that, and that kind of started my gamer phase when I was in my pre-teens, early teens as DGR, which is just a game tag that I used first. It's just acronyms of my name. I did do a lot of things. These times I found guilds, I played a lot, I became a dungeon master in a group and stuff like that. And somewhere along the line I picked up a different name, and I was actually given that name by a close friend of mine who also knew me quite a bit and how I changed, and she was a lot into Tolkien, so she picked the name Arfen Maethor, which means honorable warrior, because by this time I was a lot into paladins and paladin stuff. I have to maybe link it to Star Wars. When I was a young child I was fascinated by the Sith, and I was really dark. I even called myself Darth Dave for a time, and I was just fascinated by what they can get away with, basically. Then it completely changed. I became Arfen Maethor. I was really into paladins, into the Jedi. I refused to die, even if it was very detrimental to do so. I did a complete personality change. I wrote a book on honor. Yes, literally I did that. I found quotes from all kinds of interesting people and history and stuff like that, and I kind of collected them, did a sort of mashup, and I followed honor. I was a very honorable person. I got many jobs because of that. I've basically had a lot of fantastic personality traits. I became a person that was really fun to be around and to interact with. I was a very reliable person, very loyal person, and there were just so many things about personality changing that I really took on the name Arthur Mathor, because it was, I thought, very, very fitting, and I really should or have to do that properly. Now, as this guy, I spent a large part of my life, up to my mid-20s, I'd say, or even a little bit beyond that. I met my wife with this name. I again founded a lot of guilds, did a lot of raids in World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, all kinds of games, Diablo3 obviously, which is where I met my wife originally. I had role-playing guilds, I had progression guilds, living guilds, all of which I founded and managed. I later on even took on guilds from other people and managed those for them. I also ended up being, how do I say that, mistreated a lot, kind of abused. Like, I was a very nice and kind person, and there were lots of people that just abused that. I was basically exploited at work. I was exploited in my private life. There were lots of people that borrowed money from me and never gave it back and stuff like that. And there was just a lot of things that I had to learn, that you can't just trust everyone, you just can't please everyone, you can't do everything right and stuff like that. And this was the time where I lost a lot of weight as well. Like, as I said, I was a very fat child. Got worse because I also have neurodermitis and asthma, and both kinda made me take cortisone, which is slowing down your metabolism. That was the main reason for my weight gain. I didn't actually eat that much, but I did eat unhealthily, and the result of the cortisone was that I just got fat very quickly. Now, in my late teens as Arthur Mathor, I also started to get into sports a lot. Now, I did do all kinds of martial arts. I did do some sports earlier too. I started karate, judo, taekwondo. I was into jujutsu, into ninjutsu, jeet kune do, and silat. And later on, as Arthur Mathor, in my late teens, I got into HEMA, historical European martial arts, if you know that, with swords and stuff. So at that age, I was really kind of redefining myself. I lost a lot of weight. I think I lost initially 30 kilos, which should be about 60 pounds, and became a triathlete. I actually did coach a few people, like Bernd Keller, who is a fantastic person. I'm not sure how much I can share about his info. He used to be obese himself, got kicked out of his job because of it, started training with under my guidance, because at this point I already was quite a bit into fitness, and I worked in a fitness studio and helped him lose his weight and get into shape. And he was so awesome because he not only managed to lose the weight that he needed to lose, but he went on to become a professional athlete. He started doing triathlons, finding sponsors and all of that, and he actually did the Ironman Hawaii and won that thing a year later. So this guy is just amazing. Now, I also met a few interesting people along the way, though I think the most important thing about me in this phase is that I managed to lose the weight and got into triathlons, doing triathlons myself. Now, this phase went on for a while, and I was really a kind of Jedi at this point. I did a lot of meditating, a lot of spiritual work, a lot into occultism. I started and ran Germany's #1 I'd say New Age, well, not exactly New Age, spiritualism website, just down at this point in time, but it used to be one of the top for about 10 years, where I looked into spirituality from a scientific point, what works, what doesn't, what different kinds of spirituality are, which religions there are, all stuff like that. I did this professionally too, by the way, earned a little bit of money with that. and that was the phase where spirituality was really important to me, and I got into the Force religion and stuff like that. Now, a little bit later, around 25-ish, I took on the name Orcarisper because I was meeting a person, Wayland, who is into Somafera, which is basically the art of combat trance, you may know it as going berserk, basically. And that's the art that I tried to learn and tried to perfect and tried to learn. And I did so very, very successfully, actually too successfully, because it led me to get back into my anger issues, lose my discipline and concentration that I built up with the Jedi meditations and stuff like that. And it got to the point where my wife and I almost broke up because I was so on the edge all the time. I accidentally broke stuff in the house. I once punched a German wall, by the way, so hard that it caved in. And the guys thought that the repair guy thought I tortured this thing with a sledgehammer. It was just bare fists, but in rage mode. So I do know about rage and Chuyo and the Sith kind of stuff from that perspective as well. And over time I became more mature and I left the berserker rage stuff behind. I started to get a little bit more into, how do I say that? I started to get a little bit more into the entire... that's actually a lot better. I did start to get more into and learn more about the kinds of spirituality from the Far East, into yoga, Buddhism, stuff like that. Actually, my dad is a yogi himself, so I learned a lot from that. I realize it's quite difficult to talk while you are at the same time playing a game. So I don't know if I want to do that more often. It's just for my 40th birthday, just trying things out, just seeing how things go. Now, to progress in the story, I became later I took on the name Cry of Frost, which might seem a little bit cringe or something, but I just felt that I needed to rebrand myself once again, and that is what I did. Now, I was quite happy with that. It worked very well. It helped me settle into my life. It helped me be more self-conscious, self-aware. It helped me with my mental health as well, and I just had fun. It was just a more fun way of being, basically. I'm not sure I've talked about this, but I used to be quite suicidal when I was young. My first attempt at suicide was at 6 years old. Yes, as a little child. I had multiple attempts until I hit about 21, and I think 21 was the age where I had my last serious attempt, or any attempt at all, or any suicidal thoughts at all, because I didn't feel like I fit in due to autism and stuff like that, and many problems. Now, as Cry of Frost, I also realized how people kind of work and why I have issues with some people and some people have issues with me, and how the whole thing with not always telling the truth works without, being a dick about it. It's just a thing that you kind of have to do when you are professionally working with people or anything really. So that's the thing that I realized there. Also, as Cry of Frost, I was even more into gaming. I became unemployed for a while as well. Then I built myself back up and found a new studio to work at, which is what I currently do. And now at my 40th birthday, I think it's time for rebranding once again. Because now I think I have settled in. I think I now, not just now, like this has been a process going on for the last 2 or 3 years, where I saw my children grow up and settled in with my job, with the team that I'm working with the additional schoolings that I do, the speeches that I give. I have found my place in life, is what I'm kind of trying to say. I also realized I matured a lot. I realized that why I was being abused and exploited all the time, and how to deal with that, and how to not let people exploit you without being evil. So I think the Dark Congress title is quite something that I wanted to do, mainly because I think that I have reached a point in my life where I can differentiate between when emotions are worth expressing and when they are not, how to actually use anger in combat or in other areas as a source of fuel, how to use your emotions to get somewhere in life and to do things that you want to do. I think it is a very valuable tool. I've also found my spiritual footing for this, and I've been into philosophy, like, well, all kinds of philosophies really, because that's a part of who I was for quite a while. Stuck with Nietzsche and the Dionysian school. I believe that I have gained enough knowledge not only to how to deal with my life, but I help a lot of people deal with their life too, as from private to professional, in a psychiatry setting, in a fitness training setting. And I think I am now at the point where I can approach the world at large and just do it even more and cater to a greater, bigger audience, which is exactly why I am here and doing this right now. Yeah, that's basically the short story of it. I have reached a point in my life where I feel that I can genuinely give advice to people. Well, I have done it professionally for a while, but I think that people might profit from my insights, and this is also why I do more videos on life improvement and Star Wars, because Star Wars helped me a lot in improving my own life, overcoming my suicidal thoughts and other issues that I have, and it's really a thing that I want to go into more, especially the Sith, because I think the Sith code can be a great, fantastic tool for you to improve your life. I will teach you how on my channel on YouTube. Maybe I'll do more Twitch streams, I'm not sure. I like improvising, I do like to do my things unscripted, and thought streaming is a fantastic way to actually do this. Now, with all of that said, I think I'll just go to town and end the video and the stream there. I hope that you have a general idea of who I am and what I went through in my life. And yeah, I was beaten as a child too, by the way. That is a different story. My parents were super absent as well. Like, my dad worked at hotels, so I didn't see him for like 3/4 of the year, and my mom was a workaholic, and I saw her from since I was 8 years old. I saw her once a day, once a week at Sunday, and the rest of the week I was alone. I did the laundry alone, cleaning alone, shopping alone, like all of that. I was a child with a lot of liberties because my parents basically were never at home, which also led to some issues obviously, but overall I was quite liking that, because when I did encounter my parents it usually was in a not so good way. Yeah, with that said, I think I have told you enough about my background. So that's me. Oh yeah, I also became very fat as CRISPR because I wanted to basically improve my ability to do, you know, martial arts and be a heavyweight. So I first trained myself to around 80 kilos in muscles, and then I just went to eat for the rest. So I was at 125 kilos at my heaviest, and then I lost 45 kilos. Oops, that's the wrong. I didn't want to go there. I lost 45 kilos, which should be about 100 pounds, I think, and that's my weight loss journey that I did over 3 years. And I think now that I have found the weight that I'm happy with and did all the things that I did, learned all the things that I learned, I am at a point where I don't think I'm gonna change all that much. I'm sure learning something. Also politically, I'll evolve from super far left to more center, which is where I am sitting at now. So that's Darth Coldis, that's who I am, and I think the Darth title is taking on because I have been through some things and have done quite some accomplishments. Like the biggest speech that I gave was in Cologne for 10,000 people. I'm regularly booked as a speaker and giving my lectures. I'm still teaching and being a fitness coach and stuff like that. I'm currently not running any gaming guilds anymore because I don't have time for that, but the biggest guild that I've run was 3,500 members. So yeah, you can imagine that. I also ran role-playing servers and stuff like that. So that's a little bit more about me and myself. Yeah, I think I should just finish this at this point, and thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day. I hope this works on YouTube as well. If you like the style of videos, let me know, and with that said, I'll just end the stream, and thank you for watching. May the Force be with you.